So you've been taken through your ears. I'm going to try to take you through your eyes. And I hope you'll have the patience to just let the images come through, and you can listen to what I say, but regard the images as part of a sort of a description of a way of seeing. I'm going to put up a slide now that I'd like you all to read. Hello? Well, photography is a system of visual editing. At the bottom, it is a matter of surrounding with a frame a portion of one's cone of vision, while standing in the right place at the right time. Like chess or writing, it is a matter of choosing among given possibilities. But in the case of photography, the number of possibilities is not finite, but infinite. So keep this in mind as I go to the various images that you'll see. And you can listen to what I say, but don't get too caught up in what I say. My role in society as a photographer who has worked in various genres and styles is difficult to really put in a nutshell, especially in a world that is inundated with images and everyone is a potential photographer. The surreal nature of creating a duplicate world of a reality in the second degree, narrower but often more dramatic than the one perceived by natural vision, is certainly a thrill and a special privilege. But it is also a tight wire act which calls into question the very essence of who you are as a person and how you control your vision. In one of my earlier moments of my photographic journey, possibly the least organic and the least commendable, but certainly the most financially satisfying, I experimented professionally with the glamour and the superficial excitement of fashion photography. I guess now there's a clear separation between my fashion work, which I do mostly to earn a living, and what I can call my deeper work. But I feel that I essentially dealing with the same surface, but with a different density. The famous fashion editor of American Vogue, Diana Vreeland, once said, and had the guts to say, that fashion must be the intoxicating release from the banality of the world. Though a little harsh, this comment certainly speaks to the surreal nature of the fashion world, and of what it may also mean to those like me who have worked within its matrix. A strange mix of passionate creativity, beauty, unbound ego, and serious business. I make no excuses for my fascination with this form of photography. I think it is very contemporary and forces a strong element of courage. A courage to look at the face of the animal, which makes us all consumers in a capitalist society built on image more than on substance. But I have always felt that traveling between points of observation, from the glamorous to the exotic, and on to the degraded, is part of the very momentum of the photographic enterprise. And good, meaningful pictures can always be produced by photographing anything. The trick is not what, but how. Closely linked to the surreal process of glamour and fashion photography is the portrait, that defiant moment where you engage another individual, sometimes of great importance, in a game of glances, gestures, and tensions. I share the concept expressed by a famous photographer named Avedon that portraits, in the end, are more about the photographer than about the people we photograph. In my travel and lifestyle work, I have chosen to observe with a nostalgic eye the elements of a constantly changing tapestry of life, both the old and the new, the familiar and the strange, each moment being channeled by a feeling of urgency that seems to sit at the pit of my stomach, constantly informing me of the transient nature of myself and of that which is in front of the lens. Among certain schools of art criticism that have turned their attention to photography, has grown the idea that contemporary photographers are essentially interested in photographing simply to see how things looked photographed. Though I share this position by a certain degree, I prefer the idea that good photography provides a unique form of disclosure, showing us elements of reality as we had not seen them before, pieces of evidence in an ongoing biography. In trying to keep a grip on the essential quality of what I like most about photography, I have done several long-term projects which I have explored the metaphorical anthropological sense of place. Both the projects involve, in varying degrees, the collaboration of writers. The space of the page or the book is shared between image and word, creating a counterpoint of information which the reader can navigate through. The project, of which you see one image up here, Poetic Places, was done in Italy and involved photographing 21 of the most prominent Italian contemporary poets in their homes or place of creative inspiration. In collaboration with a noted writer, I set out to build a complete vision of the poetic persona, through the poetic voice and the photographic perception. I approached the figure of the poet with the utmost respect and toned down the photographic presence to the essential elements. Through the use of the panoramic portrait, done on a grainy and black and white film, which allowed me total freedom from any artificial light, I found a visual language which was not intrusive and offered the tonality, nuance, and breadth which would blend seamlessly with the intensity of the poems shared by the poets. Entering and sharing the creative space with such private and shy individuals was a far cry from the roar of the glamour portrait, but was a moving experience and a special challenge to me. One of my most recent projects is Pondicherry. Published in India, it is conceptually similar to the Poetic Places I mentioned before, but technically and stylistically completely different. Pondicherry has as its main focus my perception and visual interpretation of the city of Pondicherry. I chose this particular city for a simple reason. It is close to where I live in Auroville, and it challenged me to look at the familiar, to have the needed vision to seek out the images that exist on my doorstep. I have used the camera once again to dig into the metaphorical and anthropological folds of the city, searching for a sense of place, an interpretation of the specific environment and how it is inhabited. Not afraid to be moved by the simple geometrics of composition, which is often the essence of good images. But I've gone beyond the walls and penetrated into private sphere, into homes, spaces, routines, which exemplify a certain culture or cultures, searching for the visual message that composes the tapestry of perception, both of the past and of the present. The perception of place is also offered in words. I have sought out the participation of several noted French and Indian writers who have offered very personal and insightful reviews on Pondicherry. The images of the book will be touring India in the next year. As you can see, my photography is essentially an ongoing record of my life, my obsessions, and especially my vision. Thank you for listening, and I leave you with one of my favorite quotes.